Shalom Alechem, Torah pilgrims. We are reading the Torah portions for the week of the 25th of Sheshvan in the year 5777, which is November 26 of 2016, and it is Chayei Sarah is our Torah portion, and we will begin in Genesis 23 and end with the chapter of 25. So, Genesis 23, Bereshith 23, and Sarai lived 127 years, the years of Sarah's life. And Sarah died in Kiriath Arabah, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah, and to weep for her. Then Abraham rose from beside his dead, and spoke to his the sons of Heth, saying, I am a foreigner and a sojourner amongst you. Give me property for a burial site amongst you, so that I bury my dead from my presence. And the sons of Heth answered Abraham, saying to him, Hear us, my master. You are a prince of Elohim among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our burial sites. None of us withholds from you his burial site, from burying your dead. So Abraham rose and bowed himself to the people of the land, the sons of Heth. And he spoke with them, saying, If it is your desire that I bury my dead from among your presence, hear me, and approach Ephron, son of Zohar, for me, and let me have the cave of Machpelah, with which he has, which is at the end of the field. Let him give it to me for a complete amount of silver, as property for the burial site among you. And Ephron dwelt among the sons of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abram in the hearing of the sons of Heth, all who entered at the gate of his city, saying, No, my master, listen to me. I shall give you the field and the cave that is in it. I shall give it to you in the presence of my sons of the people, and I shall give it to you. Bury your dead. And Abraham bowed himself down before the people of the land, and he spoke to Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land, saying, If only you would hear me, I shall give the amount of silver for the field. Take it from me, and let me bury my dead there. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying to him, My master, listen to me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between me and you? So bury your dead. And Abraham listened to Ephron. And Abraham weighed out the silver for Ephron, which he had named in the hearing of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, currency of the merchants. Thus the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was in it, and all the trees that were in the field, which were within the surrounding borders, were deeded. They were deeded to Abraham as a possession in the presence of all the sons of Heth, before all who went into the city, the gate of his city. And after this Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of that field of Machpelah, before Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. Thus the field and the cave that is in it were deeded to Abraham by the sons of Heth as property for a burial site. Bereshith 24, Genesis 24 of the Torah parashah, Chayei Sarah. And Abraham was old, advanced in years, and YHWH had blessed Abraham in every way. And Abram said to the oldest servant of his house, who ruled over all that he had, Please put your hand under my thigh, so that I make you swear by YHWH, the Elohim Tezavot of heaven Shamayim, and the Elohim of the earth Eretz, that you do not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell. Go to my land and to my relatives, and take a wife for my son Yitzhak. And the servant said to him, What if the woman refuses to follow me to this land? Do I then take your son back to the land from which you came? And Abraham said to him, Beware, lest you take my son back there. Yahweh, Elohim Tezavot of the heavens, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my relatives, and who spoke to me and swore to me, saying, To your seed I give this land. He sends his messenger before me, and you shall take a wife for my son from there. And if the woman refuses to follow you, then you shall be released from this oath. Only do not take my son back there. Then the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and swore to him concerning this matter. And the servant took 10 of the master's camels and left, for all the master's good gifts were in his hand. And he rose and went to Aram Neharim, to the city of Nahor. And he made his camels kneel down outside the city by a fountain of water at evening time, at the time when woman would go and to draw water. And he said, Yahweh Elohim, Tezavot, of my master Abraham, please cause her to meet before me this day, and show loving commitment to my master Abraham. See, I am standing here by the fountain of water, the well, and the daughters of the men of this city are coming out to draw water. Now let it be that the young woman to whom I say, please let down your jar to let me drink, and she says, drink, and let me water all of your camels too. Let her be the one whom you have appointed for your servant Yitzhak, and let me know by this that you have shown loving commitment to my master. And it came to be, before it had ended speaking, that see, Rivkah, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, came out with her jar on her shoulder. And the young woman was very good looking, a maiden, Betula, no man having known her. And she went down to the fountain, filled her jar, and came up. And the servant ran to meet her, and said, please, let me drink a little water from your jar. And she said, drink, my master. And she hurried, and let her jar down to her hand, and gave him a drink. And when she had finished giving him a drink, she said, let me draw water for your camels too, until they have finished drinking. And she hurried, and emptied the jar into the trough, ran back to the fountain to draw water, and drew it for all his camels. And watching her, the man remained silent, in order to know whether Yahweh had prospered his way or not. And it came to be, when the camels had finished drinking, that the man took a golden nose ring weighing 1/2 shekel, and 2 bracelets for her wrists weighing 10 shekels of gold, and said, whose daughter are you? Please inform me, is there room in your father's house for us to spend the night? And she said to him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, Milcah's son, whom she bore to Nahor. And she said to him, we have both straw and fodder enough, and room to spend the night. And the man bowed down his head, and worshipped Yahweh. And he said, Baruch Hashem Yahweh, blessed be Yahweh, Elohim of my master Abraham, who has not forsaken his loving commitment and his truth towards my master. As for me being on the way, Yahweh led me to the house of my master's brother. Then the young woman ran and informed those of her mother's house these matters. And Ribkah had a brother whose name was Laban. And Laban ran out to the man to the fountain. And it came to be, when he saw the nose ring and the bracelet on his sister's wrist, and when he heard the words of his sister Ribkah saying, thus the man spoke to me, and he went to the man and saw him standing by the camels at the fountain. And he said, come in, O blessed of Yahweh. Why do you stand outside? I myself have prepared the house and a place for your camels. So the man came into the house, while he unloaded the camels and provided straw and fodder for the camels, and water to wash his feet, and the feet of the men who were with him, and set food before him to eat. But he said, let me not eat until I have spoken my word. And he said, speak on. And he said, I am Abraham's servant, and Yahweh has blessed my master exceedingly. And he has become great, Gadol, and he has given him flocks and herds and silver and gold and male and female servants and camels and donkeys. And Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was very old, and he was given to him all that he has. And my master made me swear, saying, do not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell, but go to my father's house, and go to my relatives, and take a wife for my son. And I said to my master, what if the woman does not follow me? But he said to me, Yahweh, before whom I walk, sends his melech, his messenger, with you, and shall prosper your way. And you shall take a wife for my son, from my relatives, and from my father's house. Then, when you go to my relatives, you are to be released from this oath. And if they do not give her to you, then you are released from this oath. And this day I came to the fountain, and said, Yahweh, Elohim, of my master Abraham, please, if you are prospering the way in which I am going, see, I am standing by the fountain of water. And when a young woman comes out to draw water, and I say to her, please give me a little water from your jar to drink. And she says to me, drink, and let me draw for your camels too. Let her be the woman whom Yahweh has appointed for my master's son. I had not yet ended speaking in my heart. Then, see, Ribkah was coming out with her jar on her shoulder, and she went down to the fountain and drew water. And I said to her, please, let me drink. And she hurried, and let her jar down from her shoulder, and said, drink, and let me water your camels too. So I drank, and she watered the camels too. And I asked her, and said, whose daughter are you? And she said, the daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bore to him. Then I put the nose ring on her nose, and the bracelets on her wrist. And I bowed my head, and I worshipped Yahweh. And Baruch blessed Yahweh, Elohim of my master Abraham, who had led me in the true way to take the daughter of my master's brothers for his son. And now, if you are going to show me loving commitment and truth emet to my master, let me know, and if not, let me know, so that I turn to the right or to the left. And Laban answered Bethuel too, and said, the matter comes from Yahweh. We are not able to speak to you either evil or good. See, Ribkah is before you. Take her and go, and let her be your master's son's wife, as Yahweh has spoken. And it came to be, when Abraham's servant heard their words, that he bowed himself towards the earth before Yahweh. And the servant brought out ornaments of silver, and ornaments of gold, and garments, and he gave them to Ribkah. He also gave costly gifts to her brother and to her mother. And he and the men who were with him ate and drank and spent the night. When they arose in the morning, they said, let me go to my master. But let her brother and her mother said, let the young woman stay with us a few days, at least 10, then you go. And he said to them, do not delay me, since Yahweh has prospered my way. Let me go, so that I may go to my master. And they said, let us call the young woman and ask her. So they called Ribkah, and said to her, are you going with this man? And she said, I shall go. So they let go Ribkah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant and his men. And they blessed Ribkah, and said to her, let our sister become the mother of thousands, of 10,000s, and let your seed possess the gates of those who hate them. And Ribkah and her young woman arose, and they rode on camels and followed the man. So the servant took Ribkah and left. And Yitzhak came from the way of Beer in Lahi-Roi, for he dwelt in the south. And Yitzhak went out to meditate in the field in the evening. And as he lifted his eyes and looked, and saw the camels coming, and Ribkah lifted her eyes, and when she saw Yitzhak, she dismounted from her camel. And she had said to the servant, who is this man walking in the field to meet us? And the servant said, it is my master. So she took a veil and covered herself. And the servant told Yitzhak all the matters he had done. And Yitzhak brought her into his mother Sarah's tent. And he took Ribkah, and she became his wife. And he loved her. And Yitzhak was comforted after his mother's death. Bereshith 25, Genesis 25, Torah portion, Chayei Sarah. And Abraham took another wife, whose name was Keturah, and she bore him Zimram, and Yokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Yishbak, and Shuwa. And Yokshan brought forth Sheba and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Ashirim, and Lutzim, and Leumanim. And the sons of Midian were Ephah, and Epher, and Hanok, and Ada, and Eldah, and these were the children of Keturah to Abraham. Now Abraham gave all that he had to Yitzhak. But as to the sons of the concubines whom Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts while he was still living, and sent them away from his son Yitzhak, eastward, to the land of the east. And these are all the years of Abraham's life, which he lived, 175 years. And Abraham breathed his last, and died in a good old age, and satisfied, and he was gathered to his people. And his sons Yitzhak and Yishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the field of Pelah Ephron, son of Tsohar the Hittite. the field which Abraham purchased from the sons of Heth. There Abraham was buried with Sarah his wife. And it came to be, after the death of Abraham, that Elohim blessed his son Yitzhak, and Yitzhak dwelt at Be'er Lahai Roi. And this is the genealogy of Yishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar, the Mitzrayim, Sarah's female maidservant, bore to Abram. And these are the names of the sons of Yishmael by their names, according to their genealogies. The firstborn of Yishmael, Nebaioth, and Kedar, and Adbeel, and Mibsam, and Mishma, and Duma, and Massa, Hadar, and Tema, and Yetur, and Naphish, and Kedema. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names by their towns and their settlements, 12 chiefs according to their tribes. And these were the years of the life of Yishmael, 137 years, and he breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people. Thus ends the Torah portion for this week. In the middle of the chapter, we will start it off in verse 18 of Bereshith 25, verse 18 next week. We've covered a great deal of stuff. We'll be doing some commentaries to come and discussions. So you have a wonderful, blessed week. Yivarecha Yahweh v'yishmerecha, Yair Yahweh panav elecha v'yihunecha, Yasam alav tav Yahweh panav elecha v'yasem lacha. Shalom.